What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dee'a, and welcome to the deep dive of the Take Me Back EP that we just released. Today we'll be starting with the very first song that's on the project, as well. It was also the very first song that we recorded. This song was titled, or is titled, Epangelo. Now, this was the most difficult song for me to write, not because of the topic, but because of the beat that was used. So we went with the African sounding beat, and it was the first time that I've ever rapped on such a beat. I've never really rapped with beats that had strong African drums in it. It was also the first time that I came across the formulation of lyrics called, punching in, where, rappers tend to have a tendency of like not writing, but just recording what's on the mic. So Dee'a took this approach, and I think that's the approach that he usually writes his lyrics, but he did it in a different way, where he would write 2 lines and then he would go and record those lines and then go back and then re-listen to the beat over and over again, and then just add those next lines onto it. I prefer like writing the entire verse and then going to rap onto it. So listening to the way that Dee'a was rapping, I kind of felt like I had to match that same energy. It was hard for me to rap at the same speed that Dee'a was rapping, simply because I had to rap in English. Well, I didn't have to, but I was going to write my verse in English. I could not rap in Oshuambo the same way that Dee'a could rap in Oshuambo, because Dee'a is way more fluent than I am, and if I rap, I may use the wrong words or not pronounce them properly. So I decided that I'm going to do it in English. Oshuambo is a very good language to be rapping in. I have to say that the way that the words are just makes it easier to say at a very fast pace compared to English. If you're gonna be rapping fast in English, you have to either have a strong tongue, so to say, or you really have to be selective with the words that you're going to be using. So writing my verse took me roughly about 2 weeks. I did 3 drafts, and the third one was the one that fit better. Had a better pacing. It allowed me to rap a little bit fast in a couple of areas, and I was very satisfied with that it captured sort of like the message that I wanted to hit. So let's go into the breakdown of the lyrics. Christ the Lord, Christ the King, Christ the boss. So the beginning of my verse is very straightforward, which is just basically saying about God's authority, using synonyms of each other. Christ the Son, who took a sin upon the cross. Christ the Lamb, Christ the Lion, you're gonna hear him roar. This line really does the contrast of Jesus being the Lamb and the Lion, and he came as a sacrificial lamb, but he's gonna be coming back as the Lion. So we're gonna all hear him roar and all see his authority and his sovereignty over everything. Christ the groom, married the church and he will not divorce. Took me out of my sin when I was getting devoured. I cannot speak things into being. He's the one with the power. This line speaks on people thinking that life and death is in the power of the tongue, which is in the scriptures, but they sort of like misunderstand that scripture, because they feel that they now also have the same power that God has to speak things into being. But that is not what the scripture says. It just talks about like, listen, there are consequences for our words. We can use our words to build people, we can use our words to break people, and there is a consequence to how we speak. So we need to be careful with how we use our words. The storms of life will hit. The name of the Lord is my tower. He'll be back soon. We don't know the hour. So this line, really speaks on me running to the Lord, because of the storms that life are hitting. Like, there's nowhere else that I can go to. He's the only person who can save me from everything, and because he's the one with all authority over everything that's going on in my life. So that I was going through something at that time, and I just thought that this line really spoke a lot to my experience. And it's also advisable for us to run to the Lord when things are tough, instead of running to the world, because he'll be back at any day, and you want to be caught in the Lord, under grace, under his mercy, and not outside, in the world, because we don't know when he's gonna be coming. Look at the good that my God gave. There's no one that he can't save. when he gets the win, you will see the cross. I ain't talking Kylian Mbappe. So this was probably the first line that I wrote. I wanted to rhyme, with Kylian Mbappe, so I used the word agape, and I was like, okay, I need to use Kylian Mbappe in a punchline. How am I going to do that? So I called up my friend who watches a lot of soccer, and I asked him, what is Kylian Mbappe known for? First, he said he looks like a turtle, and I was like, I'm not going to put that in a song. But he said that Kylian Mbappe has a way that he celebrates when he scores a goal, where he puts his arms, like in a cross when he's done scoring a goal. And I thought, first of saying, the Lord will put you under His wing. No, and I'm not talking Kylian Mbappe, but that one didn't really fit so well. So I used, the line where it's like, where when he gets the win, you will see the cross, not this cross, but the cross of Jesus. And I'm not talking Kylian Mbappe. So that's how that line came about. With all that said, here's a snippet of the song, Epangelo.
Christ the Lord, Christ the King, Christ the boss, Christ the Son that took us sin upon the cross. Christ the Lamb, Christ the Lion, you're gonna hear him roar. Christ the groom, married the church and he will not divorce. Took me out of my sin when I was getting devoured. I cannot speak things into being, he's the one with the power. The storms of life will hit, the name of the Lord is my tower. He'll be back soon. We don't know the hour. Look at the good that my God gave. There's no one that he can't save. When he gets the win, you will see the cross. I ain't talking Kylian Mbappe. I'ma say what they won't say. Gave his love in agape. He took death, put it to death, and that's the price that my God paid. Yahweh.
So featuring on this project, we collaborated with Cine O, who's an extremely huge talent. I believe he's very underrated and underappreciated within the Namibian music industry. And when he came to the studio, he wrote and finished the chorus, on that day that we're recording. So that was very, very phenomenal. And he had to come back to, redo the chorus. And this is what I really appreciated a lot about him, was that, because Cine speaks multiple languages. And, when you speak multiple languages, there's a chance that, you may not be, well versed or in all these languages, so you may slip up a little bit. But he asked somebody to check his lyrics to make sure that he's saying the right thing, and he realized that there were some errors in the way that he spoke, where you are not supposed to refer to God in a specific way, or somebody of high significance, you should not refer them in that way. So he had to change the lyrics. An example is sort of like in Afrikaans culture, how you cannot refer to your parents by second person. You can't call your parents you have to call them in third person. So like you would say, instead of saying you send me to the shop, they'll say Mama sent me to the shop, while they're speaking to their mother. So that's how it would look like. And those changes are quite important, especially when we're doing gospel music, because we don't want to make good music that is heretical, that will does not give God the reverence that he deserves, and that is not theologically sound. So as artists, we do have a huge responsibility with the music that we put out there. And I appreciate Cine for putting in the extra work in making sure that these lyrics are top. What I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. Thanks a lot for watching the deep dive in the Epangelo song. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can go check out this song on Spotify and all other streaming platforms. And if you want the EP, you can holler at me directly, and I can get the EP to you either via a link to the EP or a CD. We also have all of those with us. So we'll see you on the next one.